Not to sound like an infomercial, but are you planning for success? Hi everyone, welcome back. MTG Moxman here. If you're new to my channel, you've just found me in the nacho cheese universe of YouTube. Thanks a lot for checking out my content today. I hope you guys enjoyed your time here, and if you did enjoy the video, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. Join in the fun, it's free to do. Subscribing doesn't cost anything. Turn on your notification bell and you'll get fresh content that I upload daily for the channel at 11:15 Eastern Standard Time each and every day. Looking forward to seeing your comments in the comment section. And of course, it helps me get closer to my goal of 10,000 subscribers, so thanks a lot for helping out. So for today's video, it's one of those little slightly more uncomfortable topics. But when I get a group of people asking the same questions and asking how I got where I am or how can they do certain things, I know I've got to revisit this topic sometimes. And I realize it's not going to get a ton of views, but not every video has to get a ton of views. You want to put out things you find are important and informative. And this is one of those things for me because nobody taught me it as a kid. Okay? When you're planning for success in life, nobody teaches you certain things about that financial side. When I was in public school, we had home economics, and they taught me how to sew jeans, how to repair a hole in my jeans, how to repair underwear and socks, where to get the material, how to learn to sew, all the different sewing patterns to fix these things. I had shop class in grades 7 and 8. I learned how to work with wood. I built a birdhouse outside, a gun rack for holding guns for some reason. Because not a lot of guns here, it's not a need that I have for guns, but we got to build one. And then I also went ahead and I learned how to work with wood. So I was assuming if you had to do home repairs around your house, you have a little bit of knowledge on how to do certain things. Amazing. I know how to repair clothes. Amazing. But the real piece that's missing is, and all the way up and through high school, nobody taught me how to get a house, how to buy one, how to save for my future, how to save for retirement. These were not things that were brought up when I was a kid. And I don't know right now if kids are even learning it now. I know my son is because I'm making a point of doing it. For those who didn't know, I grew up in a house that didn't have a lot of money. We valued a lot of things differently than what people do nowadays. And you really kept a tight ring on things. And of course, being raised that way, it's made me look at life a certain way. I call myself frugal. A lot of people in my family call me cheap. Take your pick, whoever you are out there. I don't waste money if I don't have to. I'm not treating myself. I'll buy a new Xbox. I'll buy a controller. I buy magic cards. I do have to save for them though, and I always buy them in cash. There aren't things that usually go on credit cards unless I can pay the credit card off right away. Get that free 1% cash back. You see what I'm saying? You got to work at it. But nobody taught me about it. And when I got my first job and started carrying credit card debt, I didn't understand really how much it was costing me. Nobody taught me. I had to learn the hard way by making a lot of mistakes. Even when I started this YouTube channel, I bought 3 or 4 different lesser cameras before I learned you have to have a good camera. I bought some cheap microphones before I knew you had to have a good microphone. You learn as you go, and you're going to stumble, you're going to make mistakes. But you got to have a budget. As soon as you have a full-time job, you've got to start budgeting out that paycheck so you don't start wasting it on needless things. You're not taking your friends out on a Friday night beer run to go have a good time. You might do it once as a treat, but you have to start getting yourself ahead because you're planning for your future. Say you want to buy something. You have to work toward it if it's something expensive, right? I'm not talking like a pack of gum. If you want to go on a vacation, if you want to buy your first property, maybe you just want to buy a piece of land that you can call your own. You have to work toward those things. But every time you buy something, every time, it has upkeep costs. You buy a piece of land, you got to pay tax on it. You have a house, it has fixed costs. You got to repair the roof, the plumbing. All those things have to get factored in. And again, nobody taught me. Nobody taught us, or at least a lot of us. I started working, I went to the bank, and the guy says, you've got to start an RRSP. Well, what is an RRSP? Well, I learned that's a registered retirement savings plan here in Canada. It's for when you retire. Because if your job doesn't have a pension, which of course mine doesn't, you've got to save and work towards your savings, or you're going to be, maybe homeless when you get older because you have no money saved up. because the retirement stuff they give you in Canada is not a lot of money to get by on. It can't even pay rent nowadays. So you're kind of like, you got to really work at this stuff and plan for the future. I like my Magic cards, but you guys know, and if you didn't, I'm telling you now, I like to budget. I budget out before I buy my cards. I work toward the goals of the cards I want. Gaia's Cradle is on the way. Now I'm going to start saving for those dual lands I want for the channel. And then I'm going ahead and starting to save for a piece of power. I want to renovate my basement. It turns out renovating your basement is a very expensive proposition, and I can't just go ahead and renovate it. I have to do the construction part first and lower the floor and put a new entrance in. $60,000, $70,000 Canadian. And then after that, I can actually start the renovation on that area. Well, obviously that's going to take a few years and a little bit of budgeting to get you there. But I'm hoping to generate revenue from that extra space and have an apartment down there so I can make some extra money for my family, so I can help pay for the bills and pay for the mortgage on my property and help carry the electricity costs. There's a lot that goes into life, and planning for your future means knowing what's going to happen, or at least predicting and pathing out where you expect to be. Setting goals for yourself is a good way of doing that. No matter what the goal is, you're going to make goals that are too lofty, and you're going to make goals that are too easy, and that's okay. Some you will meet, some you will not, unless you are really determined and diligent. Because I've met people who take on like 3 or 4 jobs just to meet a goal. I understand, but we're not all built that way. But you do have to at some point realize that you're going to have to plan for your future. You have to start putting a few bucks away. You got to start putting some cash away for your future. You can't just blow it all. And that's what, again, a lot of people never taught me, showed me, or educated me on. So this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not licensed as a financial advisor. That's not what I do for my profession. I know, shocking, right? I know I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, guys. I get it. But I'm going to tell you the things that I have done to move forward in life. You can take it or leave it. You can look at it as a side of something you like or a side of something you ignore and say you're ridiculous. That's up to you guys out there who are watching this video. And I understand a lot of these videos I do like this don't get a lot of views. It's not built for everyone because it's not strictly magic. But we'll get there. When you start having a goal, you're going to have some cash flow from your salary. You have money coming in whatever job you're doing. There are fixed costs, right? You have fixed costs, which are your expenses. You got to pay your rent. You got to pay your hydro. You got to build a spreadsheet. You got to say, how much money do I have to spend? Takeout doesn't even factor in. Rent, utilities, if you have a car, gas, do you have to have a car? Can you take a transit system to make it less expensive for yourself? Cars have upkeep, cars have costs. They have insurance, gas, repairs, miscellaneous things that come up. Like, it can still cost a lot of money. So keep that in mind as well. Not everyone needs to get a car. It is a luxury. I didn't get a car till I was 31. Like, I was a lot older when I finally decided to drive. It's because I had a kid coming along the way. I need to be able to get around to like in-laws and stuff. I didn't like the added expense, I'll tell you that. You got to manage your debt. Anything I buy, I clear that credit card off each and every 2-week period. Because I get paid bi-weekly. The first thing I do is pay off that credit card, no matter what. I'm going to use it again anyway, but I don't want any interest payments coming on. And I do get a 1% cash back on that credit card. So even things I purchase at stores, it's always on credit card. I look for places that give me discounts so I can help manage my debt easier. Some debt's not bad. If you have a mortgage, that's not usually bad debt. You are owning a property and working towards something, that's awesome. If you just want to buy a piece of land, it's still awesome because you own something. You're working toward the ownership and future wealth. You are building your investment. You're building your portfolio of stuff, material items that are yours. And by the way, that's where magic comes in. It is a collectible. It is investable. I hate to put it that way, but I buy toys, they've been worth thousands of dollars. Why would magic cards, which are pieces of cardboard, be worth thousands of dollars? Of course they are. And you're trying to build all those pieces and gather them over your lifetime to make sure in the end that you're okay, that you've provided for your family, and you can relax when you're, I don't know what the retirement is around the world, but here in Canada, 65 is the official retirement age. But you don't have to retire, but that's the official age where you can sit back, start collecting your, I guess in Canada we have old age security, CPP, Canadian Pension Plan, which is not a lot of money, like I said, and you can kick back and enjoy. At least that's the hope for most people. Some people don't want to retire. I'm not one of those people. I think I'd be looking forward to being able to chill out and just enjoy a game of Magic, kick back and play with some friends, and hopefully they're all still with me at that point. We can just enjoy a little bit of life together. Because work is crazy. We're trying to work toward those goals our whole lives. And those who don't plan and don't start setting this stuff up early are frantically trying to catch up when they get older. Don't let that happen. When it comes in Canada, we have a few ways of doing things for investments. You have things called mutual funds, which is owning little bits of companies. I personally had no luck in those, so I got out of them. I kept losing money for some reason. And they were set up by the bank. So, I just left. That financial advisor did not steer me in the right direction. Pardon me for a second. Throat gets parched after talking this long with no mistakes and errors, and I gotta keep going. I want to try to do this in one big take for you guys. So I started doing RSPs, Registered Retirement Savings Plan. I guess in the States it's a 401k. I'm not sure what it is elsewhere in the world, but I'd love to know, so you guys can educate me in the comments section and let me know what other saving methods there are in the world toward pension plans at retirement. And I did something called an RSP, Registered Retirement Savings Plan. That's the short form of it. Any money you put in there comes off of your gross total you make for the year. So if I made 32, but I put, $3,000 away. So I made 32,000, 3,000 though I did in RSPs. So the income I'm being taxed on, instead of being 32,000 being taxed on, it's only 29,000. So that difference between there is a little bit of a refund you get. Now, most people who get a refund are like, wow, it's free money. No, it's your money. It's not free money, it's your money. They just kept it from you. You don't spend it frivolously, you pay down debt. You work toward your goal. Pretend that money's not there. It's very tempting to go buy a fancy Magic card or a cool new toy, which is not always a bad thing because it is building an asset, but just keep that in mind. What's your goal you've set for yourself? Setting yourself up for the future is better. What if I told you, which I've learned, instead of just going ahead and buying that Magic card, which they don't pay you dividends, right? That you could start getting money for free. Sounds like an infomercial or something, right? But in Canada, we have something called a TFSA. So what they don't really teach you in school, they definitely didn't teach me, or even as an adult, they didn't teach what a TFSA is properly. It says tax-free savings account, TFSA. But really what it is a tax-free investment account. It's not a savings account. Yes, you're saving money there, and if they had their way, they just leave it sitting at the top, making 1% interest, 1.25% interest, horrible interest rates. But what I learned from some very savvy and smart coworkers out there, thank you everyone, is that you can go ahead and do something called a self-directed TFSA, and that allows you to buy stock. You can look around, start buying stocks in companies. Only within the amount of money you're allowed to have in a TFSA, which is like $5,000 a year roughly. It's changed off and on, but we'll just say $5,000. So every year you can put $5,000 in a TFSA that can never be taxed for any money it makes. Pretty nice, right? You can't day trade in a TFSA. You can't go up and down. You just got to buy one stock at a time, kind of build it up like a Lego brick house. So I look for stocks that have good dividends. I'm not sure how it works in the States. I know you guys have the TFRA, right? Which is the tax-free retirement account for you guys. I guess your stuff gets taxed at source and then it gets to go in. But for us here, TFSA, you can go start buying. So I buy bank stocks. And those bank stocks, each share of that bank, I don't care about the price of the stock. I don't care if the stock goes up and down because that'll just drive you insane. That's not my mentality. The reason I chose bank stocks is because in Canada, with only 5 major banks, they really can't go out of business. They're kind of protected by the government. So the dividends you get from those, being 4.5%, can seem like a very small amount of money. But you have to understand, for a dividend, which is money you get, a dividend, like by definition, is because you own stock in a company. They pay you a little bit of money just for owning the stock. The stock price, let's just say, we buy a stock at $90. The dividend is 4.5%. So each year, they're going to give us $4.05 for that share, okay? Now, usually dividends break down quarterly into like smaller payments throughout the year. I'm not going to go there in this case. I just want you to be able to understand a dividend, the price of that share was $90. That's how much we bought it for. The dividend is 4.5% or $4.05 per year based on that share of $90. So if we bought 2 shares and spent $180, we're going to get $8.10 a year for free. Nice, right? And the stock can go up in price. That stock could go to $150, and our dividend will sink a little bit because it's based on a certain amount of money. But right now, for all the things we're doing right now, I'm telling you, we're going to stick with this price. So when you see $90 for a share, that's a lot of money. I understand that. But you have to start somewhere. And I understand $4.05 seems like nothing. Now, what I always did, I'm going to take that $4, which I know seems like a tiny bit of money, $4.05. I divide that by 12 because that's how many months in the year there are. So every time I buy a share, I get 33.75 cents per month for free forever. It's free money forever. As long as they keep paying dividends, my money will keep getting generated. So if I buy another share, I'm now getting 66 cents. If I buy another share, I'm now getting $1 a month just for owning 3 shares. That's $1. That's one common card a month paid for forever without ever touching the initial investment, which could continue to grow to a much higher amount. Because if it's in a tax-free savings area, you can't be taxed on the money you make. Now, what you're supposed to do, every time you get those dividends, let's just say in this case, you've been at this for a couple of years and you got $9,000 in your TFSA or some tax-free model. You times that 0.052, that's $406.80 a year, or $33 a month. See how it just multiplies, right? Instead of 33 cents, it's now $33. Picture that doing it every couple of years. 33 becomes $66 a month, becomes $99 a month, becomes $120 a month. And that's only 5-6 years in. Imagine somebody who starts younger and continues to do this for 30 years. At least here in Canada, guys. I'm not sure how it works in the States, but in Canada, look how well off you would be with that money coming in forever. And if somebody even does it for 5-6 years, they literally, if they don't need the money, they could just buy more stock and actually speed the process up. But at the same hand, they could have that money just sitting in the account as an emergency rainy day fund, reserve fund. You could take the extra TFSA money and just let it sit there all year. And if you don't need it, then you reinvest back into more, making yourself generate cash flow faster. Because I know in the States, dividends and stuff can be taxed depending on what vehicle you're in. In Canada, they can't if you're in a TFSA. TFSA is only a safe place, okay, guys? If you're going to do it. And there are limits in how much you can put in a TFSA. It's $5,000 or $6,000 a year. You have to pay attention to that and check your limits. But even then, it can really build up quickly if you start young enough. But you have to start somewhere, and you can't. I didn't follow the bank when I decided how to do my TFSAs. I decided I wanted stock in companies that are kind of protected and can't go under. So I own some Ontario Hydro stock because you got to have electricity, right? And I figure with electric cars eventually, and they're paying 3.5%. The banks are well protected in Canada, well insulated from the rest of the world. They do very well. 4.5% is a pretty good example of a strong dividend that will continue to pay me year after year and build my investment faster if I don't need the money. If I don't need that cash for anything, I just buy more shares each year and let it generate quicker and quicker. Whenever I get a little extra cash back from my tax returns in Canada, when you get money back at the end of the year, that couple $1,000, I just buy more TFSAs and I only buy bank stock with it because it generates my money faster with a higher dividend. I don't care about the stock price going up or down. I don't care if that stock goes to $200. Great for me if it does, but I don't care if it does. I care that the dividends continue to pay me the money I need because those dividends will help me in retirement. And yes, I could still tap into the actual cash as well if required. It's amazing stuff. But you have to start somewhere. You can start with literally one share. And if you're in Canada and you think $90 is too much, buy an Ontario Hydro stock, one at a time for $32. Take your couple of dollars a year that you'll get for owning that stock. But if you buy 2, 3, 10 of them, 10 of them's $330, but it's a 3% interest. It builds and it builds, but things take time. Your goals in life take time. So does generating your wealth. It isn't going to happen overnight. You're not instantly going to be rich. But what I noticed is the crumbs, the pennies, the 20, 30 cents becomes 60 cents, becomes 70 cents until you see it become $1. Then you're kind of energized. That's $1 a month forever. Now it's $1.50 a month. It's $2 a month. It's $6 a month. It's $12 a month. That still seems minuscule. I get it. But you have to start somewhere and drive forward. Those crumbs will become smaller. Then they get a little bit bigger. Then they get a little bigger because you're gathering them up. Until eventually you're paying for a loaf of bread every month. Until eventually you're paying for a cell phone bill. Until eventually you're paying your property tax bill. Because you can generate that kind of money by building things over time. I'm not saying don't ever do other things, but you got to plan for that future to get yourself where you need to go. It's amazing stuff. Start small, work your way up. You never know where it's going to lead you. But nobody taught me it. So sometimes you have to go looking for that information yourself, and it can lead you to your path to success. I know that I still have a long way to go in life. And I get to do this and talk to you guys about it, and we're all on this journey together. All these cool magic cards, all these collectibles we get to talk about, old cartoon shows. The idea that I will be here when Magic hits its 50th anniversary to see the changes that the game has gone through, and knowing that a whole bunch of you will probably still be here with me is amazing to me. But you got to have those goals to help get you there. You don't want to put yourself out. You don't want to put your family and friends at risk. You don't want to borrow money that you can't pay back. You don't want to depend on mommy and daddy leaving you an inheritance. Because you know what? People live a long time now, and maybe there's not going to be that money there that you think there is going to be. You have to get yourself started. Start by budgeting. Start by putting a little bit of money away for yourself. And I don't mean just leaving it somewhere. You got to make it work for you. See what possibilities there are wherever you are in the world to save for your own future for later on, so you're going to be okay. And the family you have at that point or anyone else you care about is going to be okay. It's a big thing. So I hope this helps some people out. I hope this explained a little bit of how I've done it. I don't just have, magic cards. I have my toys. I own more than one property. And I'm hoping one day to rent my basement if I can ever come up with the money to start the renovation. But I gotta get that piece of power first and a couple dual lands. So, goals come in a certain order sometimes as well. Longer goals take longer. They can wait a little bit longer. And the nearer goals, I want them done this year. So thanks a lot for tuning in today. Any questions, comments, concerns, you leave those down there in the comment section. Send me an email. It's always in the link in the description. And remember, if you're going to buy some cards on TCG Player, please remember to use my affiliate link, because then I get a little kickback and we can buy some cards for the channel. Thanks a lot for tuning in, everyone. I hope you have a fantastic day today. And, shop smart, shop S-Mart. And of course, a big shout out goes out to each and every fantastic patron on the channel. Thanks a lot for making this all possible each and every single day. Patrons make the world go round. They spin with pizza tops, nachos and cheese, and maybe just a few jalapenos on the side.